Today is the official day that Aquarius season begins. We have a bit planned for you today. We're going to go over the season of Aquarius. We are going to do some chart interpretations so that you can get an idea of what it means when you have Aquarius themes in your chart. Aquarius, the 11th house, Uranus. We'll look at those positions. We'll do a guided visualization to help you connect with Aquarius within you and then set some intentions for this season. So we have some cool stuff for you. Did you want to add anything else before we get started, Bella?
Maybe just that we have Pluto and the Sun conjunct in Aquarius, and this is the first time they're conjunct there without Pluto going back again into Capricorn. So for real, we have the Aquarius energy really starting when we have the Sun and Pluto. Pluto stands for the deep, dark waters, is the ruler of Scorpio. There are also things that are going to be illuminated for us. And right before we started, the moon was a 57, which Richard Rudd says is the coding for the collective core wound. So it can be a little bit of an uncomfortable day for many of us. And that's the energy that we're opening with today.
Yay. And we're a couple days away from the Rave New Year. Currently, we're still in gate 60, so that's the Magician archetype. And when we get into the 41, which is also the start codon, we will be experiencing a Rave New Year. And we'll maybe speak a little bit about that today as well. But happy second New Year. So before we begin, we wanted to share a little bit about who we are. Some of you are new to us. Some of you have been with us for a while. Thank you so much for being in our space. If you already know us and you continue to hang out with us, we are so thrilled that you continue to choose to circle with us and walk the wheel with us. And for those of you that are new, Billy, you want to introduce us?
Well, we are the founders of Unlock Your Design, and this is an online academy where we're using human design, gene keys, and astrology as tools for self-awareness and empowerment. And our mission is to guide you and inspire you to embody your truth and your sovereignty. So really what we care about is that when you are here with us today or when you study with us, that it actually makes a difference in your life, that it's not just some interesting theory that you can geek away speaking about, but actually that living your design, living your truth, aligning with who you truly are as a vessel for your soul is so important. And that's the way that we are using all these different systems, and also why we're not only using one system, because one system we can become a little bit narrow-minded. And all these systems are developing all the time because we have other ways of calculating astrology that we didn't have before with computers and all that, but also human design and gene keys. There are people that are holders of this living transmission, as Ashley and I in some way as well, and it's not stagnant. So it's important to be able to synthesize, to weave, to evolve with it, and then to actually make it make a difference in our life. So we'll speak a little bit later about the method and how we have explored it and what we feel is the most beneficial way for bringing those systems into our lives so that we can come home to our design and really bring the awareness together with embodiment in all this weaving that we're doing.
I concur. And if we didn't say it already, my name is Ashley, and that was Bella, and we are Unlock Your Design. Bella had mentioned the different systems, so we do use astrology, gene keys, human design, and we also bring in the I Ching. And as we are tapping into Aquarius season, we want to help you channel these energies through giving you an understanding of them, because once you have that understanding of them, you can recognize what is in flow. We're not trying to go against the energy. We get to have this momentum. We get to be on purpose. We get to focus on the things that are supported during this time. So Bill and I have been walking the wheel together since 2020. It's when we created the 64 doors and the archetypes. And since then, we've expanded our Academy course library to include over 200 different courses, including one for each individual archetype. But also, last year and the year before that, we really brought in and focused on astrology. So we were creating a series called The Setup, where we would go through each of the zodiac signs and we would introduce it, we would teach about it. And then last year, we focused on the planet and what it means if you had the planet in a certain house in a certain sign, because every astrological sign has a planetary ruler. So you can look at that to feel into, what does this season have for me? What should I focus on? Now we're at the other end of this, where now we get to just introduce the zodiac season, give you a little taste of it, and know that you have resources to dive into, whether you are going into our courses or if you are just learning about stuff on YouTube or online. However you want to connect with the archetype of Aquarius is perfectly fine. So thank you for being here. But before, we wanted to explain a little bit about the wheel and astrology in general. So Bella, did you want to dig into this slide?
Yeah, many of those of you that are here are probably from human design or from gene keys. Especially in the gene keys, we're not looking a lot at the wheel, but it comes from the Ray mandala, which is something that we do look more at in human design. For example, with the godheads, looking at the transits in the gene keys, we often know through the pulse where is the sun, but we don't see the wheel. So what we really are bringing in with Unlock Your Design is to show you the wheel, and this is the map of the sky, and the sky can be mapped into 12 zodiac signs, and the sun is going around, right? So we have right now the sun has gone from Capricorn to Aquarius. And another way of mapping it is the 64 hexagrams. So that's what we are using in the Rave Mandala for the gates. And it's also what the gene keys are using, even if they're not necessarily showing the wheel. We think that it's really helpful to see the wheel and to know the order of all these gates, and also to know what are the gates that are in a certain zodiac sign. So where Ashley is pointing right now, those are the gates that are in the same part of the wheel where we have Aquarius. So if you have any of those gates, you know that there is a flavor of the Aquarian energy.
And if you've been with us for a while, you've heard us say the term walking the wheel, and it's literally just following each transit by transit, and also being aware of when a new zodiac sign comes into being, when the energy shifts from Capricorn to Aquarius, from Aquarius to Pisces, and being able to connect with these inner archetypes, because we have all 64 archetypes within us, and we are just making friends with them, getting to know them, communicating with them. It's like they're coming for a visit, because when you think about the sun, the sun is the one that is kind of dictating the quote unquote program. It's telling us what's alive. It is sending all the neutrinos through the universe, and when it's in a certain gate, then that is what is primary. That is what the focus is. So currently gate 60, the magician, that is what's the focus. That is what's the primary archetype. So you get to, in this transit, feel into what's my relationship with the 60. Maybe you have this defined. Maybe you don't. Maybe you have the harmonic gate. Maybe you have the 3, which is the eternal child. And right now, your root and your sacral now has a channel. There's definition. There's flow. Maybe a mutation is happening because now your 3 is receiving from the 60. Or maybe you have the programming partner, which is the 56. That's the earth activation. So we have all of this at our fingertips to be able to connect with and interpret the energy. And we like to put them into archetypes because it's easier to talk to an archetype than it is to think about something abstractly or as a personality trait. So we created these archetypes so that you can kind of, no shame, become a little bit schizophrenic, talk to yourself, talk to these parts, and not make it weird. Aquarius season is eccentric. Aquarius season is weird. Now would be the time to walk the wheel and meet these 64 inner archetypes, these different personalities you have. Whether you have it defined or not, you have spent a lot of time in your life with all of them, because every year you live, you have met each of these archetypes at least once, right? By the sun activation. Never mind what the other planets are in. So to simplify things, let's focus on the sun. The sun is in Aquarius, and the gate we're in is gate 60, the magician. So right now, all we need to focus on is Aquarius energy and what that means, and the 60, which is the magician. What does that mean to me? So you can also know that there are a couple different Aquarius archetypes. Bella, you want to introduce them?
Yeah, so here you see the gate numbers or the hexagram numbers, and you also see the names that we have given them in the 64 doors. So during this month that we're going to be in Aquarius, or the sun is going to be in Aquarius, we're going to go through these. So the 60, the magician, the 41, the originator, the 19, the Utarian, the 13, the confidant, the 49, the revolutionary, and the 30, which is the fire starter.
So those are the 6 that hold Aquarius energy. The 60 and the 30 are bridges. The 60 is part Capricorn and part Aquarius. So if you have 60.5 or 60.6 are going to be more Aquarian than Capricorn. The beginning of the magician is Capricorn energy. So it kind of starts to change flavor. But the magician is also kind of a master of this realm. And so it's going to create in the container of Aquarius, in the container of Capricorn. It's going to understand the limitations of each of those signs and break free and break through and create magic here in the world. And then we have the fire starter that is part Aquarius and part Pisces. So that's going to bring in those 2 different flavors. And so what we'll focus on today is Aquarius itself. And let's bring back the astrological wheel.
Yeah, so going into astrology, we're looking at this map of the sky and we're looking at it as 12 zodiac signs and also 12 houses. What we are looking at in the setup series during the year is understanding the correspondence between the signs and the houses. Then there are 9 planets that are rulers for these signs and these houses. So some of them are going to have a double rulership. So Venus, for example, is ruling 2 different signs. So these are the things like we're looking at the whole system in the setup and we're going through every year and adding more things to it. And today we are going to look at the sign and we're going to look at the house that corresponds and we're going to look at the ruler. So that's what we are doing for the sign of Aquarius.
Yay! So here's Aquarius. And Aquarius is connected to the 11th house. It's connected to Uranus. We are going to use some language to explain Aquarius, and we'll do this for each of the different archetypes as we have this welcome call. But we wanted to make sure that you understood the language that we are speaking. So for each zodiac sign, there's going to be a polarity, whether it's feminine or masculine. Feminine is negative, masculine is positive. There's also going to be a modality. The modality can be cardinal. Cardinal is the beginning, it's the initiating, or it's fixed, where it's kind of created that rhythm. It's going to keep that rhythm. It's fixed in its cadence and its personality and its direction, or mutable, where it's in between. It's changing. It's changing to the next. It's mutating. It's mutable. It's transient. And then we have elements that can either be a fire sign, an earth sign, a water sign, or an air sign. And when we talk about rulers, there's going to be one planet that is the ruler of the zodiac sign. There are some discrepancies where maybe there's like an older ruler or a new ruler, and sometimes a planet is going to rule both. Like Bella said, Venus is in both Taurus and Libra, and Mercury's in both Virgo and Gemini. So sometimes that planet is going to be a ruler of 2. And then the corresponding house, it'll go 1 through 12. And the zodiac signs start with Aries, and that's the first house, go all the way to Pisces, that's the 12th house. So they'll have their own house correspondence. And then the perspective can be personal, interpersonal, or transpersonal. And why do we need to know this stuff? Because each of these things is going to inform us about that like personality trait of the archetype of that zodiac sign, but it's also going to help us understand the archetypes, the gates, the gene keys. Because if you know that the 60s in Aquarius and it's an air sign, the air is more mental, right? We're going to get qualities from air. We also are going to understand that the ruler is Uranus. Uranus can be shocking. It can just come in really quickly. It's shocking. And so we can feel into that new that wants to be birthed through the eccentricity, the shocking, the revolution, the new stuff that's coming, the beyond, and etc. So when we look at the information about the zodiac sign, it'll help us get more information about the archetype.
I believe that this is especially important when we are looking at charts because there's so much information. And when you're looking at somebody's chart, sometimes it's easy to guess, oh, it's this gate. And I know Rara who said this about it. I know Richard said something about it. So what I feel when we are adding astrology to it, it gives us like an extra check so that we don't just guess and interpret something on the spot. So that helps us to look at the whole picture in a different way. And that's very important because it's almost impossible that the person is going to say, no, that's not me, because we are checking all these different points and system. And then the person's like kind of relaxing, saying, yeah, that makes so much sense. So it's just an extra kind of security to be sure that you're able to guide in a way that is accurate and aligned with the truth of their design or their blueprint. So let's look at those different things we saw in the previous slide for Aquarius. So we have first the dates. So from today to February 18th, the polarity is masculine, the modality is fixed, the element is air, the modern ruler is Uranus, and the traditional ruler is Saturn, is corresponding to the 11th house, and the perspective here is transpersonal. And this is another thing that you're going to learn if you're going to the setup with us. When we look at the wheel and the different signs, it goes from the most simple to the most complex. And it's very similar in the way that it goes in the hexagram structure. If you're into the Ching or human design, it goes from the first line that is foundational and quite simple in some sense, me before it's we. And then you have the sixth line that is way more subtle, but also way more transpersonal and seeing the big perspective. So when we are in Aquarius and Pisces, which are the very last part of the wheel, we could say that there is a correspondence to line 6, to that very transpersonal big perspective. So that's also another thing where it's a correspondence that helps you understand a certain sign, knowing the hexagram structure and how it develops from more foundational to more complex.
Hopefully you had a chance to download the workbook that came with this, the Zodiac Season Workbook for Aquarius. I'm going to give a little bit of information about the characteristics of Aquarius, and then I'll give you a little run through of the workbook and tell you how you can utilize it, because we have this amount of time together, but afterwards it's up to you for how deep you want to go into Aquarius and how deep inside of yourself you want to go. So Aquarius season is going to occur when the sun is in the zodiac sign of Aquarius. It's an air sign and it's ruled by Uranus. And the archetypal energy of Aquarius is associated with the following characteristics. So its powers are that it's independent, it's original, it's progressive, it's visionary, it's analytical, it's innovative, it's non-judgmental, it's a humanitarian, and it's focused on the future. Some of the pitfalls are going to include that it could be self-righteous, it could be stubborn, unpredictable, inconsistent, emotionally detached, or extreme. And that's some things that can show up in Aquarius season or in people that carry Aquarius energy. So this season is a time for embracing new ideas, pushing boundaries, and focusing on collective progress. So that's what we can focus on during this season. So this is the Zodiac Season Workbook, and it's an invitation for you to dig deeper into Aquarius season. So we called the Aquarius archetype the visionary innovator. However, it can be called many different things. It could be called the eccentric, etc. So it's going to give you the key themes for this season. It's going to pose a challenge for you. So these are the spaces you can write in it. If you have Adobe Acrobat, there's a way that you can edit it, or you can add text to it, and you can do it that way and save it to your computer, or you can print it out and write in it. So it's not already editable. I did not put those boxes in there for you, but if you have Adobe Acrobat, you can do that. And in section 2, we go through each of the archetypes and we'll speak about those in one moment. And in this section, it's for reflection. So you don't have to use the space if you're verbose, if you're wordy, if you want to write more, you can just use this to spark your imagination and creativity, and you can write it somewhere else. So what new ideas or visions are sparking within me right now? Where do I need to step out of my comfort zone and embrace change? And then here are some practical rituals for you to utilize in Aquarius season. And then also an opportunity for you to deepen your journey with us in the 3 different ways that we have given you. And then lastly, I really encourage you guys all to take time to share the gratitude, because in a way it's not just this take energy, it's also this appreciation energy for the season and creating a relationship with it. And you'll find that, creating that mutually beneficial relationship between Aquarius season is also going to, it's just going to help. It's going to help initiate you into deeper ways to love this season, to love yourself, because you are finding ways to have gratitude for it. So that is the workbook, and hopefully you have a chance to work with it. So if you'll introduce these first 3 archetypes, I can do the last 3.
So here now we're back at the archetypes and we're getting a little bit more of information. So the magician is about mastering potential, to harness limitation to create extraordinary breakthroughs and possibilities. And then we have the originator, and that is about the spark of creation. So initiate bold ideas and bring visionary concepts into reality. And that's where we have the ray of new year as well. And then we have the Utarian, and here it's about connection to nature. So aligning with the interdependence of all things and deepen our sense of belonging.
Yes. And as you are walking the wheel and experiencing these archetypes as they come into transit, feeling into what you're being called to do. How am I mastering potential? How am I sparking creativity? What is my connection to nature? Not just nature in terms of like the plant world and the animals here. I mean, like the nature of humanity, the nature of being, the nature of you, and how it's not just that you are a separate individual self. It's that we're also connected to this bigger, greater body. And if I am connected to this bigger, greater body, how do I affect and impact that? How do they affect and impact me? And how can we feel into how I want to approach life, knowing that we are connected, we are one, and looking into, any kind of codependent behaviors that we might get into when we start to feel that connection to each other and start pinging things. And as you're tuning into your psychic senses, like, what are you interpreting in the field, and what does it mean about you? What does it mean about them? Does it even mean anything? And how can we improve the greater body, the greater humanity? And inside Aquarius season, we see that we have the magician and the Utarian, who are 2 of the 3 of the codon ring of Gaia. We also left the mystic behind in Capricorn season. Those 3 come together to really help us understand that we are one planet, we are one being, we are connected to the earth, to its plants and animals and humanity, and that also there's like this greater mystery that we are reaching for. There is something that connects us all. Deep down inside of us, we feel it. So understanding your energetic blueprint on this planet, not just like what you're leaving behind in terms of the physical, but how has your being influenced and impacted the planet and those around you? Like, what kind of ripple effect have you created? And so the other archetypes that we have are the confidant, which you call the listener. It can be a listener. It's discovering inner clarity and truth through deep listening and reflection. It's also going to hold the repository of everything that's ever been or ever will be. It's going to listen through the heart, listen for the unspoken. It can hear what's being said, but it's also taking in what's not said. And Then we have the revolutionary. Oh, so when we have that transit, get ready for like a lot of stuff to come to the surface or come out, all the secrets coming out as well. There's a lot of energy to either find that confidant or be that confidant. Then we have the revolutionary, the 49. This one is principles of revolution. So we are learning to embrace revolution and transformation. We're here to revolutionize systems and align with a higher collective vision. It's time to feel into what triggers us, what comes up in us, and be able to see, does this align with the time? What is mine to transform? What triggers do I need to heal and integrate? Because some things you're finding that you are ignited about, that you want to be that force for change, that force for good. And sometimes in the revolutionary energy, you're realizing where you're kind of drawing your lines in the sand that says, don't cross these. These are my principles. This is what you need to listen to. So you have to understand, where am I being too rigid? What would be best for humanity? And what's just best for me? Because sometimes we're self-serving and it's not really good for everyone, but we're trying to impose our own revolution to make ourselves feel better about ourselves. So it can be a really triggering and upheaving time for everybody on the planet because we have reaction here. So we need to ask ourselves, how am I responding to life? What is activating inside of me? And what do I do with that activation? So the revolutionary is kind of here to help us uncover what we care about as well, and what we might need to rebirth inside of us. Because not everything things stay for a time because they serve us for a time, but we also need to ask ourselves, is this habit, is this principle, is this idea, is this belief, is this boundary, is do I still need this? What am I fighting for? And if you can't answer that question anymore, or it doesn't feel like it has any more energy, we can let it go and we can figure out what wants to rebirth in us. And then the fire starter is all about passion and desire. So here we ignite our inner fire so that we can pursue what truly inspires us and what moves us. And this is the time to feel the fire in the belly, to feel into what we're passionate about, to feel into what we want to do, create experience in the world, what we want to feel. And those are what's coming during our Aquarius season. Did you want to elaborate or speak to some of these? I know that you do have the confidant and the fire starter, Bella.
Yeah, I love that you added more to them than just a little sentence. I feel like this is the bridge to the future. With all these, they have qualities that we're going to need as we are walking into that sixth line reality coming in 2027. We're already so much in this energy, and I believe that they can really help us and give us the confidence and the energy, the passion to become that bridge and to not only speak about it, but to really role model it. So if you remember before, we said this is connected to the sixth line. The sixth line is about being a role model. It's about embodiment. It's not just a leadership that is spoken. It's a leadership that is embodied, that is walked in every step in how we talk and how we walk that talk. So that's what those archetypes in quite different ways are bringing in. And I like how we can also see how they are friends somehow, because even if they have different ways of conveying it, and if we go back, for example, to the body graph or the circuitry, we're going to see that those different archetypes are in different circuitry and they maybe have different things that they are more passionate about. But we know when we see them together in the wheel that they have like also like an overarching perspective that is connected to Aquarius and those revolutionary ideas of where we're going as a movement, as humanity, as a collective.
Yeah. We'll look at some charts to see what else indicates Aquarian energy. But if you look back at this and you see the progression of these archetypes here, you're going to see that we start with the magician. The magician is going to bring over some of the structures from Capricorn into Aquarius, and we're going to feel into what's right here. What do I want to start? What do I want to initiate? What is lighting me up here? What do I have a vision for? The originator has that visionary quality where they're bringing in something brand new. Nothing has ever gone there before. The 41 and 30 actually make a whole channel, and it's trying to initiate to feel something different. It's moving towards the solar plexus center. Bella mentioned circuitry. She mentioned the body graph. These all connect to each other. And so we're seeing that we're going to have this spark of, I desire to feel something new. I want to initiate a new experience. I want to initiate a new hero's journey. I want to go through life in some way that's going to bring me a new way of feeling what it is to be human. And the Utarian is asking us, how will you approach this beginning? It is about the approach. It's this sensitivity that those have to feel into what's the best way to put that first step forward. How do I want to approach this project, approach this person, approach this experience, approach this conversation? It is an outward moving. Remember, Bella said that Aquarius is masculine, masculine is yang, masculine is doing. It is about moving forward. We have had time to be reflective, and now it's about, how do I want to move into this season? What am I dreaming up? And the confidant is also asking us to listen to what people are saying, listen to what we are saying, listen to what's under the surface. If I'm wanting to initiate this thing, what is the impact of that on 7 generations forward, 7 generations backwards? What have others said about this? What will others say about this? How will this impact humanity? And can I feel into and listen, is this mine to create, or do I just want to experience this? How do I want to steward this idea, this experience, this thing? And understanding, if I am to be this revolutionary for this change, for this new thing, how will I stand behind it? How will I stand for it? What am I fighting for? What am I trying to bring into the world? And it's going to take, if it's brand new, it's going to take a little bit to get people to jump on the bandwagon. And that's why the fire starter, which is part of that, what's that cross called, Bella? Contagion, right? The 30, is that the
Mhm.
cross of contagion? Yeah. So it's beautiful to bring in this fire starter energy, because we're also bringing in that whole cross of contagion energy, where it's like, I'm devoted, I'm committed to this new thing I want to bring into the world. Who's coming with me? You feel the person's fire, and you feel that they have a drive, they have something about them that says they're in it, they're doing it, they're a leader in a way for this revolution, and it invites people to either find the fire in them, or kind of jump on the revolution and feel into their part in that movement. So is it inspiring a reaction where you're like, oh, I don't like this at all, I'm going to create something opposite of that? Like, it's gonna invite all sorts of different responses, reactions to that energy. So, yes, that's what we're doing there. I I think the next place we're going is into some specific examples in some charts. So, before Bella digs into it, I want to show you that we're gonna have 2 charts up here. The first one's the body graph, and that's gonna have highlighted the different Aquarius energy that Bella has in her chart, which can come from 11th house, because remember, it corresponds to the 11th house or Uranus. So we're looking for things in her chart and also your chart that have this Aquarius symbol or the 11th house, or you can look to the ruling planet of Uranus to see what is that revolutionary energy, what lives here. So, yeah, I'll pass it over to you, Bella, and you
Like
can
Ashley just was saying, the 11th sign is Aquarius, the 11th house is corresponding to that. And the modern ruler that we're using is Uranus. So wherever we have that in the chart, we can see this energy. And let's just look again, what is this energy about? Just so we remember. So the qualities that we have here is being independent, original, progressive, visionary, analytical, innovative, non-judgmental, humanitarian, and future focused. And there is also self-righteous, stubborn, unpredictable, inconsistent, emotionally detached, or extreme. So that's the energy that we're going to see in those different places. And also remember, I said, if you have a lot of 6 lines in your chart, wherever in those 26 activations that are in your body graph, a lot of 6 lines is going to correspond to the Aquarian energy and the Pisces energy. So chances are that you're also resonating with this kind of rebellion for the future for humanity that's here. So let's go to my chart and just do a quick overview why I am resonating a lot with this energy. Well, I have my sun in the 11th house. So my sun is living in the part of the wheel that have those humanitarian causes. That is about the groups or the movements where we're studying things together and doing things together, that gives us the vision of going together somewhere. That's what we're doing right now. And it has this energy of kind of quantum leaps. So when I discover a new system, or I discover a way of looking at the wheel and the hexagram structure or something like that, I feel like, wow, energy and quantum leaps. So having the sun in the 11th house, if you have that, you're strongly going to resonate with this. Then we can go back to the incarnation cross. Ashley was mentioning a little bit about that. So the incarnation cross is the sun and the earth in the moment you're born, and the sun and the earth 3 months before. And that is creating a cross in the wheel. And that means that if you have your sun in a fixed sign somewhere in your incarnation cross, you're going to have Aquarius. Could be any of those 4 positions. So in my case, I'm a Taurus, and that means that my radiance is going to be like a square away. So my radiance sphere, or my design sun, is in Aquarius. So the way that my soul is radiating is through this energy. And then we see on the design side my Mercury. So either we could say that's my soul communication, how my soul expresses, or we could say it's a kind of inner dialogue, because the design side is in the inner side. And we also see that we have Venus in the 11th house for me. So not too far away from the sun. Venus is never very far away from the sun. And here I also have a 6th line. So the way that I value things, what I appreciate, Venus, it's a 6th line. So I appreciate those 6th line themes of Aquarius and of Pisces. And then we have Uranus, the ruler, on the bottom. So we see in my case, it's in the 6th house. The 6th house is about everyday themes, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius. So here it's starting to weave a little bit. But the big thing with that is that in my everyday life, I'm going to not live by the status quo, because Uranus, like we said, it's weird, it's eccentric, it has its own way of doing things. So for me, that's something that I do in the area of everyday life. So look at you where you have your Uranus, in what house you have that, and look at the area. And if you don't know that, this is also something that we learn in the setup, or if you Google it, what does this house mean? In that very area where you have Uranus, you're going to not follow the status quo. You're going to be weird, maybe eccentric, maybe original, maybe visionary, innovative in that area of your life. And for me, the everyday, right? It's all the time. And I'm sitting here and working from the computer in a country that's not my country, with hours that I can decide myself. So in my chart, overall, I have quite a lot of the energy that is Aquarian energy. So we all remember it, 11th house, whatever activations that we have in Aquarius, and also where is the ruler in your chart, and how does it tell you how you're living out your rebellion energy. And in my case, it was in Sagittarius. So there's also kind of a passionate, optimistic vision that's there when we weave those two. And I think maybe I'm not going to go so much into my own chart when it comes to the astrological wheel, but this is the astrological wheel. And I like this way of looking at it, because in the other one, it was easy to see because Ashley had actually highlighted it. But when you have the bio wheel, which is what we call this, it's where you have all of the activations in the moment you were born, which is the black planets. And then if you go back to 3 months before, you have the set of red planets, and that's showing where were the planets on the sky 3 months before. So here's a little bit easier to look at the wheel. Okay, where's Aquarius on the wheel? And then we can see what's in there. We can go to the 11th house, and we do recommend that you go to the 11th house on the black wheel, the natal wheel, because we are looking at astrology, and it's a little bit different when we look at the 11th house of the soul. However, I think that that could be a really interesting workshop to tuning together, looking at the houses together with your design side, and see what that means. And then, of course, we can also see the planet Uranus. And for all of us, because there's only 3 months between our natal and our prenatal, you're going to have Uranus either in the same gate or in the gate before and after. So the natal Uranus is going to be either in the same gate as the design one, or they can change one. And because they're retrogrades, sometimes it's also confusing when you see, oh, why is my design further on in the wheel than my natal? Well, that is, again, because the planets from the Earth point of view are retrograding at some points of the year. Yeah, I think hopefully what we just went through in terms of these examples can help you to look at your own chart and start to actually weaving astrology. And it's quite complex. So even if today the only thing that you're doing is to look at, do you have any of those Aquarius archetypes? That's already a super good start. And then Number two could be like, oh, how does your 11th house look and what's there? What sign is it in? What's there?
Yeah, we go really deep into that aspect of looking at your personal chart in the setup for Aquarius season. We look at where is the 11th house, where is Uranus, where is Aquarius for you, what's there, and we even give you formulas to help you understand what that means about you. So I definitely recommend it if you already have the setup course, go back and review that and also rewrite your declaration of intent. And that's gonna help set you up for the season. That's why we call it the setup, because it's setting you up for success for this zodiac season. And I'm also seeing that there was a question about how is this going to impact water signs or water houses? And the one thing that I will say, and I'll see what Bella will has to respond to that, is that when we think about water, we think about emotions, we think about that kind of fluid. When we're talking about air signs, we're talking about the mental realm, we're talking about thinking. This is a very good opportunity for us to be objective, to be logical, to dig into things, to learn something, because there's a lot of mental energy here. But that mental energy will feel a little bit detached from that emotional realm, which may be a little bit challenging for, say, Cancer suns or Cancer moons or any of those water signs. They might feel this need to go deeper into the emotional realm, but it's not really met with that energy. It's not really supportive. We can intellectualize our emotions here, but actually going into it isn't as easily accessible as if you were in a water sign. So right now, there's a lot of energy to think, to understand, to conceptualize, to go into that mental realm, to be objective, to be logical. Anything to add?
Yeah, we saw that characteristic, the emotional detachment. Everything that is in Gemini, in Aquarius, and in Libra is faster. It's the air element. So it can feel for the water signs like the air signs don't really care and they're just fast going on to the next thing. And that, of course, is a little bit of a clash in that sense. And at the same time, sometimes it's good to be a little lighter in the way that we see things and take things. So the interplay of these is how we can integrate and become more balanced, more whole.
Mhm. Okay, let's snag another example. So the other two examples that we have today, one Yose and one Mary, they are both part of our inner circle membership. They're actually some of the managers of the group. And so we'll start by doing their charts and explaining a little bit about Aquarius energy in their chart. And then for those of you that are in the inner circle, the next welcome series will probably be asking you guys for your chart so that we can look at your charts. So if you're in it or thinking about joining it, you have multiple opportunities actually to dig into chart interpretations, because we'll be doing it here. I'm not sure if we do it every single time we have a welcome, but Bella does do Q&A and chart interpretations with the live session that she holds every zodiac season. So there is opportunities to ask questions in that and to also get specific with your actual chart and that zodiac energy. So if you're in the inner circle, you have access to that too. And I would highly encourage taking advantage of that.
Right. So here we see another chart. And what I would take from the body graph, I wouldn't necessarily go to the sides and do the highlighting the way that we're doing here, because, of course, in a chart reading, we're looking not only at the Aquarian energy. In this case, we're looking at a Taurus sun. Actually, her MC is also there. So she's very Taurus in that sense. But we do see that she has Aquarius energy. So what I will take with me as I'm going into the wheel is that she's a pure manifesting generator. She doesn't have the emotional center defined, and she has 3 open centers. She's quite defined. She's a single definition, and that's going to help me even when I look at the Aquarian energy, because she has quite a lot of energy where she has defined center, where she's going to impact the world, where she has a consistent energy in the throat to emote, and where everything is connected. She's not a triple split, so that this part is going to have to connect with this part, and maybe she's going to need to be in a cafe for everything to speak to each other. No, she is a manifesting generator. She's going to have a lot of energy, and sometimes she's going to try things out and it's not for her. So maybe she starts being part of a rebellion or a movement, and then somehow her body says it's not for me anymore, and then it's okay for her to walk out. And somehow her Taurusness would tell her, no, but you have to finish this, you have to do it until the end. But actually, when we see her being a manifesting generator, it's okay to feel that it's not for me anymore. I don't have energy anymore. And then you don't continue. However, again, with a Scorpio moon, a Taurus sun, with a lot of Aquarius, she probably is going to be more of that fixed sign way I'm working. Oh, I sign up for this. I'm going to have to do it. You see, she has a completely open ego center. So she's going to probably feel that she hasn't done enough if she doesn't finish it. She's going to kind of try to, show us that she's a person that is going to promise something and do it, which is a little bit contrary to that completely undefined ego center, because the mantra there is like, I have nothing to prove. If I'm a manifesting generator and I don't feel like it, I'm not supposed to do it anymore. If the sacral center isn't happy doing it, then there's no point of continuing. So she's here to have staying power with the things that she's here to do with the 952. So here we can look at the wheel. And what I really recommend for all of you is that you learn, first and foremost, the symbols. You need to know the symbols for each planet, because otherwise you don't know what you're looking at. You don't know what is in Aquarius. So here, for example, you see 3 glyphs. It's Venus, it's Jupiter, and it's the sun sign. So you want to know those. So when you look at the wheel, you know what planets are there, because it's going to give you completely different if you have Pluto somewhere or the sun somewhere. It's very different energy. One is your life mission, your life's work, and the other one is your deepest transformation. So when you look at interpreting your own chart or somebody else's chart, you want to know that. Then we also recommend that you learn the correspondences to the gene keys. So for example, when you see red Venus, design Venus, you know on top of your mind that that is the SQ, that is the inner child, that's the imprint from 0 to 7 in the gene keys. That's going to help you. When you see in Aquarius here, the Jupiter sign, it is the pearl in the gene keys. So then you know that it has to do with the legacy, what you're here to leave after you in the afterglow. And you see the red sun sign, the ring with a dot in, and that's the radiant sphere. That's how your soul is shining. So with those 3 in Aquarius 4, you'll say, yeah, she appreciates, and her inner child, she's a 6-3, her inner child is going to feel really happy when we are respecting and when we have reverence for these qualities in Aquarius. Her inner child is really sensitive inner child, and it needs to be parented the way of the Aquarian. So when she becomes her own parent, if she does that with Aquarian energy, that's going to be really, really good for her to reparent herself with. And it's going to also have a good impact on her vitality, because the SQ is connected to vitality. And the same thing, the legacy that she's leaving after her in this lifetime, the pearl, right? It has to do with this Aquarian energy and the radiance as well. So she's here to really kind of ignite in us some of that fire and spark, what she's excited about. And that's also very typical for a manifesting generator. When they are excited, we won't feel excited. And we also see here that she has Aquarius in the 6th house. And the 6th house is what we were saying before. That's the everyday. So she's going to also bring this into her everyday life. And then we see the 11th house. So there's also something for her. How she's tapping into this Aquarius energy happens through the sign of Cancer, or it's actually on the cusp of Gemini. So Gemini and Cancer. And it's also something, however, that her soul knows, but she's here that because it's her south node, she's here to kind of more come into kind of the personal creativity of the 5th house, and also the structures and the cardinal earth and that kind of more embodied earth energy. She's a Taurus, that we can see on the other side of the wheel, which is where the north node is. So there's a little bit of a warning sign that we could say with the south node in the 11th house, to say, don't only be this over transpersonal 6-3 that just care about everybody else in the humanity and where we're going. That's not necessarily the way that you nurture yourself. It's more about that personal creativity, 5th house, and also like the structures that work for you, and coming back to the Capricorn cardinal earth sign. So this is a little bit of how can we look at this energy in somebody's chart. Okay, so let's do a quick overview again. So here we see a similar body graph, but actually we have a split here. So it's not a manifesting generator, because we can see that the sacral is connected to the G, connected to the spleen, but in between the G and the throat, there is no connection. So this is a pure generator. So she doesn't have this thing that she can start and then she can easily just like not do it. However, the fact that she has the sun in Aries, which is an initiating sign, maybe she allows herself to not drain herself completely on it. But for most of us that are generators, we kind of have to see things through. And that's where we really need to follow our inner authority in order to know what's correct for us. if we are responding not from our inner authority, but from our mind, for example, chances are that we're signing up for all these things that are not good for us. And in this case with Mary, she has the channel 2946. So it's extremely important that when she says yes to something, that it feels wholehearted, that it feels that she can be in 100% for the as long as that experience is lasting. So that could be an hour of being on this webinar, or it could be a lifetime because she has a friendship that never ends. Like whatever the timeline is, as long as she's in it, she's fully in it. And that is, like I said, something that can be a little bit challenging for an Aries sun. We also see here when we're looking at the two activations that are not in the body graph on this chart, so Chiron and Lilith, we are suggesting that you work with Chiron. However, our suggestion is always to leave the body graph the way Rahu told us to fill it in or to use it. So the 13 activations on the black side, the 13 activations on the red side, and those are the ones that go into the body graph. If you decide to work with Black Moon Lilith or Chiron or Midheaven or any other point or asteroid or body, you don't put them into the body graph. We don't want to change your aura type. We don't want to change your inner authority. We actually don't want to change the design that you came here to embody. And we don't want to change the strategy for deconditioning either. So it's very important that you can work with other activations, but you don't put them into the body graph. So in her case, she has her Chiron in Aquarius, and she also has her Black Moon Lilith. And both of them have to do with the kind of reclamation, with the kind of heroine's journey. So the way that she's actually healing in this lifetime, the way that she's becoming more of who she is, more of that unique, eccentric being, is that she looks into those themes of Chiron, like where the little child maybe felt inadequate, felt wounded, and work with the themes that are there. And then the same thing with Lily. She has that kind of being thrown out of paradise and maybe the shame and the rejection that's connected to that. So all those themes for her are connected to reclaiming and embodying the energy of Aquarius. And let's go to the wheel here as well to look at how we can understand the wheel. So here in Aquarius, we can see that we have the K with a little ring on it, which is Chiron, and then we have Black Moon Lilith. And this is in the 9th house for her. And the 9th house is about truth and expansion. So it's going to be very important for her truth and expansion to work with this Aquarius energy, and especially through the lens of Lilith and the lens of Chiron. And then we go to the 11th house, and here she has Aries. So part of her way of being a revolutionary is that she's actually quite an individual, quite unique. It's that sign of the self, the Aries, the first sign. And she has this extremely powerful conjunction. So here is a perfect example of how an archetype is so connected to the sign. When you know about the 51, the gate of shock, it's so connected to the initiating energy of Aries. It's perfect. It lives there. It's in the middle of Aries, right? So that's where it is. So in her case, she has 4 different activations. So we see that a Mars sign, so that is in the gene keys, is the core wound. So there's so much fuel that she can unlock through going into this area of the movement of the collective, of the groups with people that embody and love the same thing as she does. She's going to be able to unlock so much of her initiative, so much of her fuel by going into this, and also by being herself. And that's how, if you know Mary, she comes in and she's herself. She has that defined throat as well, defined G, coming in and speaking to that authenticity and truth that is moving through her. And then we also have the sun sign, so the life's work, and we also have her IQ sphere, or her personality, Venus. So this is also what she values, even if it kind of rocks the boat a little bit. And this can be a conflict for her because, remember, she has undefined emotional center. So she is here to shock, to rock the boat, to be eccentric, to actually be me first, and I apologize later. And at the same time, it's extremely uncomfortable when we have an undefined solar plexus center to be that way. So that's something that she's going to have to overcome, because remember, that's the not self. I am not going to rock the boat. I will avoid confrontation and truth, but that's really not what she's here to do when she has the 11th house sun with the Aries sign in it. When we look at the line for Venus, we can see here in Venus that it's 51.3. We know that she's also dynamic in the way she thinks. She's going to have a lot of different ideas. You're going to see her when she's inside of our membership, for example. She has ideas. Oh, I'm just going to post this. I'm going to see what happens. I'm doing it for me, but actually it's fun. She has that dynamism. That's what she values, when there's dynamism. And when she came into the inner circle to walking the wheel years ago, she kind of said, yeah, I really value kind of this, movement, going from the head and going from like figuring out your life with the mind, coming down to the body, coming into the inner movement much more. So I think that's probably what I want to say about this chart, and how we can hone in on the energy of a certain sign that is then connected to the house and also has a ruling planet. And if you felt like this was over the top complicated, yes, that's why you probably would like to do it, one thing by one thing, looking at your 11th house, looking at your Uranus, and that's what we're doing in the pre-recorded masterclasses if you go into it. If you felt like what I did was really fun and really easy, well, I'm going to do something called Decoded. So that's a chart interpretation course for those of you that are advanced, but maybe not as fluent as me and Ashley doing this. So if this felt fun to you and you want to come in and be able to weave it this way and like the overview of everything, then yeah, keep your eyes open for that, because we're going to speak about that soon.
Wonderful.
We started the setup 2 years ago in Aquarius season. So chances are, if you're here and you're interested in astrology, human design, or gene keys, that you're resonating with this energy. I would say this is the energy for Unlock Your Design. And this is our view. I'm a 4/6. I'm a 6-line being. Ash is a 5/1. We are very much in that 5th line, 6th line, the overview of things. And it's about how can we practically use these systems so that we can understand ourselves better, so that we can be in relationships where there is more respect, reverence, acceptance of each other. Because of course, knowing these things about Mary, for example, is going to allow us to relate to her in a way that is aligned with her design. The same thing with Yose, the same thing with Ashley and me. Some of the times where there has been some friction, just by remembering the design of the other person and their astrology and the chances that could be affecting them a lot, is also how we can ease in that friction a bit, or wait until the transit is over, or wait until that emotional wave has become a little bit neutralized over a few days before we kind of bulldoze over people with our energy, right? So it really helps to know your own design and other people's design in terms of relating to self and other.
Mhm. Yeah. So hopefully you'll take the chance, tune into your own chart, pull up the charts. We highly recommend Genetic Matrix for getting your charts. And hopefully you can look at, what do I have in Aquarius? What's in the 11th house? What about my Uranus activation? And start to uncover what is here for you. So we'll do a guided visualization and Aquarius intention setting in a moment. But before we do that, I wanted to let you guys know how you can continue with us during Aquarius season. And then we'll hop into the meditation. Let's go back to walking the wheel, because that is kind of our method. That's what we do. So we have 3 different ways to play with us, 3 different ways of walking the wheel with us. So let's dig into those 3. So walking the wheel, some of you may already be registered for that. Every Tuesday, we host a call where we explore the archetype that's in transit, and that is going to give us this potential for asking questions, for connecting to the archetype, for learning about the archetype, and having discussion around it. So we meet every Tuesday. You can sign up for that free Walking the Wheel course. This is going to give you access to the Zoom link. Also, there's lots of resources within the course that we have put together to help you understand the different systems. We also put the replays of the calls for the month inside this course. So if you miss a call, you can come back and watch it. And we send email reminders. So you are going to be able to hop on, learn about the archetype, ask the questions you need, or maybe share a story or an experience you have with this archetype. And we're building an Akasha, or a library of these archetypes and what your experience is with them, or what your questions are with them. And those go inside of the archetype courses as well. So you have access with this free course to get the replays for a month. If you're in the inner circle, you always get the replays. And if you own any of the archetype courses, they always get put in there. So we're starting to build out this Akasha. Every single year, we put these calls that we host in there so that we get your voices too, and we get your questions too, because people are also looking for those. So that's what's inside the course. And right now there's currently 4.5 hours of video content. So we have these calls as well as whatever other enrichments that we have added to it. Anything you'd like to add about this?
Yeah, there's spirals and spirals and spirals every time we walk around the wheel. Every year there is more embodiment, and it feels not always easier, but at least it's like you know what you're going to face and you can face with more courage. I feel like this is the way to learn about all the archetypes, and there are ways of even doing chart interpretations where you only speak to the archetypes. Ash and I have not done that so much, but we know other people that were with us the first time we went around the wheel when that was actually a closed container as a course. And they have their coaching practice where they're using the archetypes and they don't even speak about human design and gene keys. They're just using the archetypes. So there's so many things that you can do when you learn about these archetypes. Every year we're seeing more of the synthesis of where are they in the wheel, what is it connected to in terms of the lines, in terms of the signs. So getting to know them allows you to have a lot of fun, for sure.
So you can always start here with us. And the next Walking the Wheel call is tomorrow, and we will be gathering around the Magician and the Originator. So you can join me tomorrow and we'll have a conversation around this. If you want to dig deeper into Aquarius season, like we mentioned previously, we have our zodiac season courses. So we call it the setup because we're setting you up for success during these zodiac seasons. It's a roadmap, and we have one for Aquarius season, and these are $35 each. It has quite a bit in them now, so you'll be able to get the replay from today. We have the mini guide that you have that'll be inside this course as well. And then we have the teachings and the replays that we have done these previous years. And some of last year we put the inner circle Q&A and the workshop in there. We're not going to be doing that this year. This year it'll just be exclusive for the inner circle, but you do have these resources. So something for embodiment, something for Q&A, the planetary ruler, and then the overview of Aquarius season where we have the roadmap. Lots of really great ways to dig into that Aquarius material. And then we have, of course, the Inner Circle membership. This is another way for you to join. So you can do the free option, you can pay $35 for an evergreen course, or you can join the membership where we are going to be unlocking the zodiac season each time, each month. And the focus will be on those archetypes and the season. You're going to get access to a lot of different things with your Inner Circle membership. You get to choose if you want to sign up for it monthly or if you want to sign up for the year, which we highly suggest, especially if you're walking the wheel. They want you to be able to have everything that you need for all 12 of the zodiac signs and all 64 of the archetypes. So if you're really committed and want to focus on that this year, that's a great potential for you. So you'll get the archetype courses. So all the Aquarius courses are going to be uploaded into the inner circle. And you'll also get our foundations course that helps you have the foundation of gene keys, human design, astrology. You might need that if you're new for this so that you can orient yourself with these systems. And you obviously get an invitation to the Walking the Wheel calls. All of the replays are accessible to you. We put them in your Inner Circle membership, easy to find, as well as the courses you have access to. And whatever setup course is active for the month. So we do it as kind of this building this drip where each month you get the one zodiac course and the archetypes that are part of it. And then the next month we don't have any of the Aquarius stuff included, and we bring out the Pisces stuff. So it'll keep the pacing for you so that you're focused on that. Access to all of it because maybe you want to look up what you have in your chart. You might want to have the yearly because that gives you instant access to everything. So all 64 courses, all 12 zodiac sign courses, and that way you can flip flop around. And if you get curious and you want to go somewhere else, you can do that. And you get the vault as well, which has tons and tons of other videos and materials from previous years. So if you have the annual membership. So today we are offering that you get 3 months for 50% off. If you use the code IC50, you get the 50% off. So instead of $64, it'll be $32 for 3 months. You can see how you like it. It's actually very, very reasonably priced because if you wanted to buy an archetype course, it's $55. And here you're getting like 6 of the courses for $32 plus the setup course, etc. If you do want to sign up for the year, you can get $100 off that year membership with code IC100. And we are going to be doing the chart interpretations and Q&A with Bella this coming week. And then the next week, we're going to be doing a workshop with me. So go ahead and feel into how you want to move forward with us. If you want to move forward in another way, we honor that. We just want you to know that you have different options. You have a free option, you have a low price option, and then you have this commitment to walk the wheel with us if you wanted to join the inner circle.
On the overview level, if you do this every month, learning about the sign and the archetypes that live in there and the house and the planet, a year in, you're going to have a really, really solid foundation of foundational astrology because we're building up our knowledge about all the planets, all the signs, and all the houses. And that's really where it starts. And you're also starting to get that view that we're seeing, the wheel that we're using that has the astrology with the signs, but also the gates. So starting to look at it as a circular map and not as isolated just the gene keys or isolated just the body graph, but we actually have that model of the sky where we can see all the systems overlapping. And you're going to soon also learn, for example, the correspondence between design Venus being the SQ and personality Venus being the IQ. So the good thing when you're walking the wheel is that you have, like Ashley was saying, the sun highlighting the energy, and then you focus on a portion of this foundation of astrology for that month. And then after 12 months, it's there. And it's not like you had to do a lot of hard work. It's so natural to actually do it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you more. And thank you for digging into Aquarius and welcoming Aquarius. So, this is now an invitation for you to come into the deep relationship with many aspects of yourself. It's an opportunity for you to become aware of and integrate the shadows of the not self in order to embody your true self and realize your sovereignty. And we do this by walking the wheel. And so you have 3 different options, 3 different ways to play with us. And we hope that you'll consider one of those. Okay. So now we're going to go into a meditation and hopefully you'll be able to tap into Aquarius season. We can tune into your intentions for that and just drop into the place where you're making that authentic connection with Aquarius season instead of the things that we're telling you. You already know it. There's wisdom in your body. So if we can take the moment to tap in, to tune in, it helps us connect with that authentic place of relating inside of us where we get to experience Aquarius through our vessel, through our interpretation and perspective of it. If you can sink in and connect, so just giving you that invitation to continue with us. Let's first take a moment, and now you're going to go on this solitary journey within yourself so that you can connect with Aquarius authentically. So just take a moment to settle into your space. Find that comfortable place to sit. Your feet can be on the ground, your legs can be crossed, whatever feels natural for you. I'm going to invite you to just take a deep breath through your nose and out through your mouth. Inhaling deeply for a count of 8. Exhaling fully for that count of 8. One more time in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel yourself becoming more present with each breath. And now imagine that with every exhale, you are releasing any tension, any worry or distraction. With your exhale, it's just melting off of you. This is your time. This is a sacred moment to connect with yourself and the energy of this season. So let us begin by grounding ourselves. Imagine roots extending from the soles of your feet deep, deep into the earth, anchoring you securely. Feel the earth's steady, nurturing energy rising through those roots and into your body, offering you that support, that wisdom, that abundance that lives inside of the earth, making that connection to Gaia. Tuning into that one body, one organism, feeling that connection to the earth, to others, to the plants, to the animals, feeling the connection. Breathing your awareness back into you as an individual. Now we're picturing a beam of light shining down from the sky above, entering through the crown of your head. This light represents universal wisdom, higher knowledge, and divine guidance. Feel it flowing through you, blending with the grounding energy from Earth, balancing and centering you. You are both rooted and open, ready to connect to the expansive energy of Aquarius. Now imagine yourself standing in a vast open field under a starlit sky. The air around you is crisp, clean, and full of possibility. Imagine yourself looking up and seeing the stars sparkling brightly, forming constellations that seem to dance and shift, reminding you of the infinite potential within the universe and within you. In this space, you are free, free to be your truest, most authentic self, free to explore new ideas, break old patterns, and create something entirely new. As you stand here, you feel a gentle breeze. It carries with it the energy of Aquarius, innovation, independence, and connection to the greater whole. Breathe it in deeply. Feel this energy entering your body, lighting up your mind with fresh insights and bold visions. You are connected to something bigger than yourself, a collective wisdom that inspires progress, hope, and change. As you continue to breathe in this energy, visualize a figure approaching you. This is the embodiment of the Aquarius archetype, a visionary, a rebel, a bringer of ideas. Notice their features. Perhaps they appear futuristic, wise, or otherworldly. This archetype is here to remind you of your unique gifts and power to make an impact. And they offer you a gift, a glowing orb of light that represents your own spark of genius, your ability to create, and your role in the greater collective. Receive this gift with gratitude, knowing it holds the energy you need to move forward with clarity and with purpose. Now hold this glowing light in your hand, and as you do, allow your mind to wander to dreams, goals, and intentions that you wish to set. Then, Aquarius energy is expansive, innovative, and community focused. Take a moment to ask yourself, what unique contribution do I feel called to make? What old patterns am I ready to break free from? How can I align my individuality with the collective good? And what bold vision do I want to bring to life? Take a moment to let these questions settle in your heart. If an intention arises, silently affirm it to yourself. And if you're still exploring, that's okay too. Trust the clarity will come in time. Now visualize this glowing orb in your hands expanding. It surrounds your body with a radiant, shimmering light. This light holds the energy of your intentions, protecting and nurturing them as they glow and grow. Picture this light spreading outward, connecting with others who are also holding their visions and dreams. Together you form a network of light, lighting up the earth, a collective force for positive change. Feel into the power of this connection, knowing that your individual contribution is part of something much greater. I'm going to take one last deep breath, feeling gratitude for the energy of Aquarius and for your own willingness to grow and evolve. And when you're ready, slowly bring your awareness back to the room, wiggling your fingers and toes, gently opening your eyes. Take a moment to jot down any insights, intentions, or feelings you'd like to capture while they're fresh. And this is your foundation for the season ahead. It's your map for navigating Aquarius energy with clarity and purpose. We'll give you 4 more minutes to journal or be with your own experience of this. And when time is up, we'll say goodbye and we'll shut down the Zoom and you can continue in your own space. So take the next 4 minutes to turn inwards more, jot down any of those insights. Thank you for joining us, and we wish you well during Aquarius season. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.